Welcome back, everybody. Episode 4.
Woohoo!
Woo! Didn't think we'd get this far, to be honest. I'm just kidding. So thank you, everybody, for joining us again. We've had a great response on the first few episodes, episode 1 through 3. Right? We've just we're gonna try to get to a point where we are launching one a week. It's a little difficult right now. We're putting, I think, a little bit more production value into this than the average podcast out there. No disrespect intended to any of the other guys doing this. We love you all, but we'll get to one a week. Right now, it looks like we're putting out the podcast and then the YouTube video the following week is kind of like it's been the schedule. So just keep an eye out for us, and thank you for everybody for your support. Thank you guys for coming out. We got Raul here today, our white belt, blue, Janet, blue. We've got
Mauricio
underscore. What is it?
Mauricio underscore
okay.
Matos.
We'll get to that. You guys will learn a little bit more about that in a minute. Mauricio, blue belt. My name is Milton. I am a purple belt, and our guest today is Junior Vega. He is a black belt at Fight Sports Coral Springs. We know him well. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
So let's talk a little bit about our sponsors real quick again. Guys, thank you so much. Choke Responsibly, again, gave us a bunch of T-shirts, and they're sending out mugs and T-shirts to our to the people that submit questions. So thank you to them. Any questions that we answer today, they will get a podcast mug and a T-shirt. U.S., we ship it for free. Anybody outside, we have listeners from around the world, which is really cool. If we use your question, you've just got to pay for the shipping, so just keep that in mind. ChokeResponsibly.com. You can go and use. Anybody remember the code? Coupon code. Dummies Pod 4. Dummies Pod 4. Bo is saying 4, Bo. This is episode 4. We'll talk about it. This is episode 4, everybody. It's Dummies Pod 4. Guy behind the camera is trying to correct me. Thank you, Bo. ChokeResponsibly.com. Dummies Pod 4. They have great shirts like this. All right, Jiu-Jitsu, the kanji symbols with Jiu-Jitsu. We've got Jiu-Jitsu is strong with this one, a little Star Wars parody. They've been doing our podcast T-shirts as well, so we love them. Everybody's got a Choke Responsibly shirt on, so you can go and get yours. If you win a T-shirt and you order something else, you still get free shipping on everything else, okay? We've also got Fight Back CBD. They're giving us a few more bottles to give away this week. I don't know if that's getting blocked by everything, but we've got 2 more bottles. One for each question today, and they're shipping them out. We'll hook you guys up, and they'll send it to you directly. We really want to thank them for being a part of this. Go online. I would say go to their website, fightbackcbd.com. Go to their about page and check out what they're about. They basically pay. Junior, you're new to this. I don't think you've heard this before. They actually help people with substance abuse issues. They help them take jiu-jitsu classes. They get them keys. They pay for their school.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so really cool. Happy to be working with them. Hopefully we'll continue working with them for a long time. Again, they'll give us 1 bottle, two bottles per episode, 1 bottle per question. We'll have 2 for this one and 2 for coming episodes as well. So very cool. Check them out. On Instagram, they are Fight Back CBD. Okay? Let's dive in. We've got some really cool questions. We've had questions coming from all parts of the country, Canada. But today we're going to start with, we've got our friend here. Let me just pull up his name. Okay. Question. This is JR623. This is Wolseley Rivera. I think he asked me to give a shout out to his gym as well. He's up at Hibeto Jiu-Jitsu in Sarasota, Florida.
Shout out
to
Sarasota.
Shout out. Respect.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for the comments. I know you've been commenting. That's me answering on the other side, so thank you so much. He says, hello, I'm a blue belt from Sarasota, Florida, training at Hibeto Jiu-Jitsu. My question is, how do I mentally prepare myself for my first competition, and what are some of the tips I can use? Anybody want to grab that? Janet, why don't you jump in? You've done. I know we've kind of touched on this a little bit before, but let's keep on talking about it. People are asking about it a lot. There's a few questions here about competition. So, go ahead.
I would just say, it's a mental game. So mentally prepare yourself. Even when you're laying in bed at night, go over it in your mind. What is your game plan? Have a plan. And just everybody is just as nervous as you are, so keep that in mind. It's not just you,
I say you could think about it, but you want to be really careful to not let it kind of consume you, and there comes a point where it starts to make you nervous and anxious.
Overthink it.
Yeah, you overthink it a little bit. Listen, the best way to prepare yourself, I think, mentally, is to prepare yourself physically. If you're in the gym, if you're in shape, your diet's on point, you're going to do just fine. And look, it's you have to think about it being more about the experience,
than winning or losing.
Yeah, don't think about I'm there for the gold, and if I lose, what are they going to say in the gym, right? There's so many things you can think about. Just worry about each fight in front of you, and honestly, go there and have fun. At the end of the day, you're going to look back on it as a great experience with win, lose, or draw. So.
For sure, I agree with that. I think also, you don't want to try anything new. Like Janet said, stick to your game plan.
Yeah.
Once you start changing things around and you're like, oh, I'm ahead on points, let me try this. Yeah. That's when you screw up everything. So stick to your game plan.
Now, I think there's also a little part of this is, are you doing a local tournament? Is it IBJJF? Are you traveling overseas? I'm not sure that he's necessarily going to be doing that. If it's a smaller organization, I'm not big on the making weight. Like, don't try to cut 20, 30 pounds. Again, we talked about this on another episode. I think it's a mistake to try to make weight and suck weight. And, my first coach told me, the first tournament I did, he's like, don't lose weight, don't worry. And I tried to lose weight. I lost weight. And then because there weren't too many people my age, weight, and rank, they put me together with a whole bunch of kids at different weights, younger, 20s, 30s. And it didn't even matter in the end. So if it's a small local tournament, be in shape, be prepared, eat well, but don't focus so much on, I got to get my weight down so that I'm the heavier guy at a lower weight class.
Unless you've got 1 pound to go, something small.
Yeah.
Or you can even, when you go to register for that competition, you can see how many people are in each division, and if it's better for you to drop that 1 pound for the one division, then otherwise, I agree, stay where you are. You're comfortable there.
I think, I did the new breed a couple of times. You can weigh in the day of, but you can weigh in the day before. I know that they've changed it a little bit, so I haven't been around for a while.
Competition-based, yeah.
If it's day of, again, you really have to think about, am I going to try to make weight? What am I doing, and what am I doing to my body? On top of that, again, now you're taking away from your mindset. There's so much stress in the mindset. So, anybody have anything to add? Anybody?
I haven't competed, so
okay. Have you thought about it?
Yes, to me it's always a challenge to compete because it's a struggle for me to find time to train between work and jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And for as much as I love jiu-jitsu, we still have to work, and so.
How about your son? Your son trains at the same school.
Yes, he did.
We've talked about it a little privately, but.
He competed before in the in-house tournament that the school did, and he also competed at the new breed.
Okay.
And he likes it.
Hated it. He was okay.
He actually won gold, and he showed up at my job wearing his gi with the gold medal. I got it, Daddy. That was pretty cool.
How old is he again?
13.
13. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
he's gonna be 14 next month.
Yeah. Is he? I know that there's going to be an in-house tournament soon at Fight Sports.
Yes.
Cross Springs is.
Yes,
a requirement, or are they? Is it volunteer or is it required?
Well, I don't really like to force him to do it. I mean, it's up to him, but I think he will be participating.
He'll probably do it.
Yeah,
Has he talked to you about it? Is he nervous? Is he even thinking about it?
It's funny because he was so nervous. For the first time he competed, he was so nervous. Like, Daddy, I don't think I want to do this. It's like, well, just go have fun. We take some cool pictures. And it's all about the experience. You're gonna have. And he loves it. He's had a great time doing it. I don't think I never heard coaches screaming so much.
He lost his voice for a couple of days.
Yes, he did. It was great.
All right, let's jump to our next question. This is I think Junior might know this guy. I know I've seen you guys in pictures together when I looked at his Instagram handle. Roberto Santiago 20, right? You know
Roberto
who that-
Santiago, yeah,
Big
good
shout
guy.
out.
Yes, big
Thank you,
shout outs
Roberto.
to
Thank you for your question.
Nova Jetta Sal Gym and Davey.
There you go. As a 56-year-old BJJ white belt, we're up there too, Roberto. I'm 40. I'm going to be 46,
49.
49,
26.
20.
Plug yourself.
Oh, no, that's all wrong.
40.
Times are wrong. 40?
44.
Okay, so we're up there.
40. I'm 40.
You can, okay, we can ask.
40 plus.
Janice 40 as well.
It is what it is, folks.
Jason?
40.
40? We'll talk about him another day.
We're older than Mauricio.
So Roberto asks, as a 56-year-old white belt, I would like to compete just for the experience of competing, but I also want to enter prepared. Okay, we were just talking about that. The last time I competed was 1985 to 1992, when I trained in, I'm not even going to butcher that karate name. What training tips do you have for someone who's over 55 years old, a BJJ grappler who wants to get in shape and compete by the end of this year? So we kind of just really talked about that a little bit, Roberto, but we'll go back to its mindset, its diet, and it really depends on what organization you're going to go fight in. It's a different prep for an IBJJF tournament versus a new breed,
Can I add also to
sure.
make sure that you talk to your professor or professors if this is something that you want to do. Don't go at it alone.
Yeah.
Talk to your teammates and say, hey, go hard with me or help me out. If I'm mucking something up, let me know. But then let your professors know, because you're going to want somebody there to coach you.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
can help you out with any pointers, or if he's worried about any type of working out or, anything, they might be able to help you or know somebody, to go that route.
And that's a great point. It made me just think back to when I was at my first gym, a white belt, and I told my coach I wanted to compete. First of all, his jaw dropped. He was surprised because he had competed we're the same age, and he had competed at a much younger age, and he's done. He's retired, and our training had to completely change. We went from rolling a little bit more self-defense style, a little bit more, for just learning jiu-jitsu to we had to do everything based on points. We had to understand. Mount, takedown, mount, taking somebody's back and what the points were associated with that. So I think one of the best things that we could tell you, Roberto, is to make sure that your coach knows that you want to train. You don't go at it alone.
Yeah.
You definitely need to let people know, and your training needs to change. This is not take him down and try and submit him. This is take him down, side control, get your points, wait 3 seconds. There's a lot that goes into this. I'd like to find out a little bit more from Roberto. I'm not sure how much you know about that. You train with him over there at Nova Uniaus. I'm sorry, what is it?
Nova Jetta Sal.
Nova Jetta Sal.
I'll tell you, as an older player, jiu-jitsu practitioner, I would say the main focus would be cardio. Cardio definitely is going to play a big role in what you do, because you're not going to be as fast as everybody else. You're not going to be as fast as the younger guys in your gym.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to be competing against somebody your age. So the best thing that you can have on your side is going to be cardio, right? So what does that mean to you? Maybe being in the gym 3 to 4 days a week. If you're just showing up to the gym once a week, I would say competition is probably not going to benefit you. It's not going to be on your side. It's not going to be in your favor. But 3 times a gym, 3 to 4 times a week in the gym is what's going to pay off. And then stick to the basics, right? As a white belt, you should be doing white belt moves. That's it. You shouldn't be doing
Bearing bolos and
you shouldn't be doing
What's that
better
move that you
bolos
named?
and
What's
Chuck
the-
Norris moves. And
The Chuck Norris
You shouldn't be doing the
move.
Chuck Norris. You shouldn't be doing anything crazy. Basics. And again, like Milton said, you have to understand the scoring system for your belt class and what you can and cannot do. You're not throwing in a heel hook as a white belt. So just know that.
So let's dive a little bit further, because you know this gym intimately. Do they do competition training in that gym aside from just the regular training? Like what is the breakdown, and what could you tell Roberto that he needs to do, and what he should be telling his coach?
For sure. So if you think about Nova Jetta Sal, they are Master Toko is Cyborg, Professor Cyborg's black belt. So that
He
is
put
a
the black
heavy
belt on Cyborg, right?
Yes, that is
he
correct.
gave him the side.
So they're a heavy competition gym, fight sports in Miami. And I think most fight sports that you run into are going to be competition gyms. There are quite a few competitors in Master Toko's gym. What I recommend is pull those guys aside and see what they can show you, because the competitors are the ones that are going to benefit you the most. Get their idea of what the competition is like and what to expect, and they can potentially help you with getting those nerves, working those nerves out, because that's what's going to throw you off. But once you shake hands, once you bump fists, all those nerves should disappear, and you're back on the mat rolling your 5 minutes or however long you're rolling based off your belt class.
Because when you walk into the competition, it could be overwhelming, but once you step onto the mat, like you said, it's just you and that person.
That's it.
And I really wouldn't worry about age, because when you sign up, you're with other people that are your age.
Well, that's
in
why I
that
bring
division.
up the the organization, because again, and I'm not throwing shade on New Breed, but it's a smaller organization.
Do they
It's
not
gotten
have
bigger.
masters?
They do, but like my last tournament, I was you knew the guy. It was like a 15-year purple belt, 26 years old, training for 15 years. I'm training for 5. I had 20 years on him, and the weight was different. He was smaller than me, younger, faster, stronger. No excuses. I went there. I knew that that's a possibility, but Roberto and people like him have to know what you're getting into as well. I would probably suggest make sure you go out to a few of these tournaments, especially the one that you're going to sign up for. There's nobody's, at 56, I'm not sure that Roberto is looking to, go to the, to Abu Dhabi, right? And maybe he is, hats off, but maybe go out to some of the local tournaments and then pick the one that you want to go to, something that you're comfortable with. You see people your age, again, I went and there's almost never anyone my age. So, again, I've stopped going at this point, and again, I'm not looking to go to ADCCs or I'm not looking to go overseas and travel the world. I love my role in this jiu-jitsu world, and it's just fine for me.
Hey, but hats off to Roberto, right? 56 years old, white belt, wanting to compete.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, and this is what it's about, right? This is why we're here.
I do think that everybody should compete at some. I think that you should really do it once, even if it's an in-house. Usually, the in-houses are a little bit more based on or geared towards the kids. But I think that everybody should try it once. It's a great experience. I'm definitely of the mindset, like, I don't want to look back and say I didn't do something. I did that with jiu-jitsu. I didn't start till I was 41. I had every excuse. I'm too heavy. My knees, my back. I'll never sweat. Oh, somebody's butt in my face.
Yeah.
I had every excuse.
That never happened. What are you talking about?
If I could add, though, I'm sorry, what was our friend's name?
Roberto.
If I could add 56, I mean, one thing that's really huge when you're over 40, and this is, professional athletes have picked up on this, and now there's an uptick in a specialization of nutrition for athletes over 40. Huge in MMA now. There's a huge now window for those nutritionists. And there's a fact that we lose a certain amount of testosterone per year, starting at around 25, to the point where by the time you're at 40 and 50, your recovery is drastically, in context of the conversation, inferior to your younger counterpart. So your nutrition is probably more important than everything, because even with the skill, with the practice, even being at the gym, if you gas out before the tournament's over, and losing the gold due to a lack of nutrition and a lack of gas, maybe gold isn't really what you wanted, but it would really be a shame to know that you had the ability to get gold, but because of your nutrition, you gassed out before the tournament was over. So like things like paleo and keto really cater to 18 to 30, 35. Other diets that really focus on the protein and the nutrients that a person over 40 needs in order to recover between like the high intensity kind of activity. That's something that you might want to look into, and it's going to be easy because there's so much information now when it comes to combat sport training for people over 40. Tons of information out there.
Did you do keto or the intermittent fasting?
I did intermittent fasting.
Before you got...
Absolutely.
You had to go
before I had to go to the doctor. Yeah, and that worked out for me big time. And I started keto.
Keto or?
Well, no, I did intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting is just when you eat. Keto is what you eat. Paleo is what you eat. So intermittent fasting mixes with any actual diet. But intermittent fasting is great, but definitely combine it with a diet that focuses on our age. Those of us who our testosterone levels have dropped significantly.
Not me. My testosterone is very, very high.
For those.
Honey, if you're listening, there's nothing wrong with my testosterone. No, my fiance is 10 years younger than me. This is a concern.
With mine, if you're listening, mine is completely dropped. So leave me alone after 9. Definitely look into that. It will help your game immensely, I think.
So now, if you don't mind, like, we were talking right before the show, we were getting some coffee, and you're just getting back into the gym again, right? You got the okay from the doctor to get back in,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you just started to talk about the way you were dieting. What are you going to be? Are you going to be doing something different this time out?
Oh, hugely different. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be checking on my macros based on. I had the advantage of being at a doctor who talked to me about that. And
explain to everybody what macro is. What
oh, sure. So it's the combination of how many carbs you eat.
To the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a combination of how many carbs you eat, proteins, and fats. On a percentage level based on the goal that you want to build muscle, to lose weight, to be involved in high intensity activity. So that changes according to your age and the chemistry of your physics, of your age and your body, and that matters a lot. And one of the big things that has had to change for me is I've had to concentrate heavily on protein sources, and I never realized clean protein sources. And I've never realized how hard it is to get clean protein and clean carb resources. And it's a lot of research, a lot of prep, but it makes a huge difference because just in the last 2 weeks, I've felt a huge difference in the workouts that I've done. I rolled this morning, huge difference in my activity, my energy level.
First row back?
No, I've rolled, sporadically.
Since the doctor gave you your...
Yeah, I
The
probably
doctor
wasn't
told you
allowed.
you were allowed to roll.
Doctor, if you're watching,
The doctor's not watching. This
Since
is
the doctor told you were allowed to roll.
Definitely get a
Yeah,
trouble though.
right. Since I was allowed to roll, but I definitely felt far more energetic. I was able to get off the mat faster. I was able to react quicker, go back to the glory days last year, so I do feel that I'm coming back. But nutrition is a huge part of bouncing back, as opposed to just working out, and I think the gym is critical, absolutely, but it has to be accompanied with high nutrition, especially the margin when you get older gets so much smaller, what you can get away with and what you can't get away with, and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. It makes a huge difference. At 56, I would become a YouTube expert at the situation. Yeah.
So
Then our friend should maybe, if he's that worried about nutrients and diet, he should go check his doctor out.
Yeah.
Although that is something that as jiu-jitsu people do
Roberto's,
not like to hear.
I'll throw this on. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Roberto's a big boy too. I've seen pictures. He's big. I think he's. I don't know
He's
how tall
slimming
he
down.
is.
I think he's
but
slimming down every day.
He's a big dude, so
Nice.
he's going to be up there again. Roberto, I wouldn't worry so much about trying to cut weight.
No.
You're going to be you're going to be with the big boys. So
Yeah.
Go ahead, Janet. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
That was it.
Oh, okay. I'll throw this. We're talking about health and eating. You guys know, the listeners, they'll be hearing this for the first time. I had a heart attack. I'm going on, June is 3 years that I had a heart attack. 4 stints. Gangster. 4 stints.
You go full out.
Not just
I
one,
come
but 4. You
hard.
went big.
When I tell people that it's 4, they're like, 4? Like, you're still alive? I'm like, is that a lot? I don't
Go
know.
big or go home.
I had 80% blockage on my main artery.
Wow.
I'm talking Junior's language, I think. We'll go into Junior's background and what he does, but I
Damn
had
tacos.
I have and look, I cut out fast food, soda, red meat years ago, but damage was probably done already. But 4 stints, 2 in the main artery, 2 in whatever other places. I probably should be a little bit more educated on where they are. I carry some little cards in my wallet to tell you where they actually put them in case anything happens. But nutrition is the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing for me. 15-year-old in the house. We actually have gotten to the point where when we buy junk food, she puts it in her room. She hides it in her room, away from me. I try to go to Whole Foods and. It's also the amount that I eat, but I have to watch my salt, my saturated fat. So I'm definitely on the same page. When I had the heart attack, I was 25 pounds. I was right at 250. I was actually 247 was my heaviest, and right now I'm at 225.
Nice.
So, but still, I probably have another 25 to go. So it's hard. It's not easy. Look, I can sit here and preach, losing weight and dieting, cutting weight, and it's the most difficult thing what I've really done though is, and again, I thought that you did the intermittent fasting before, is I'm not doing intermittent fasting. I just stop eating around 6 or 7 at night.
That's great.
I go to bed I try to put as much distance between my last meal and when I actually lay my head on the pillow. I used to actually have a bowl of cereal and go to bed. I was like, oh man, I'm tired, ready to go to bed. Let me have this bowl of cereal and then go to bed. That was just that was my daily routine.
Hopefully he will drop the 25 pounds because I'm the one that has to train with him
Well,
every
looking
Saturday,
forward to
every
those.
Sunday.
Yeah,
So
Do one of these cry?
Baby crying bunny.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's difficult. It's always a challenge, but I'm getting married in December, so
Congratulations.
I gotta fit into the banana hammock. So, we're going.
Wait a minute.
Too much. TMI.
I love you, baby. So I definitely, we're going on a cruise. It's like a destination thing. It's the family's going. We're going on this cruise. So I definitely, on top of
We're
things.
going on a cruise.
Awesome. Podcast is
Oh,
awesome.
you didn't get your invitation yet? I'll check on that.
the Dummies going on a cruise.
So I definitely, like I said, I'm somebody who's doing it. I'm not just preaching it about losing weight or eating right, but I struggle with it every single day. I'm in an office 8 hours a day with cookies and coffees, and they took out the candy machine though, and now they get us fruit every morning, so that's kind of cool.
That's great.
But yeah, I struggle with it every single day. So Roberto, we'll get back to Roberto. Roberto, good luck.
Good luck, man.
I'm sure we're going to see
Good
you.
luck, man. Good luck.
Yeah,
Let us know how you do.
See you in the
Junior, see you soon. So we're talking a little bit about health. I know that you were a Marine medic, right? Were you? I'm sorry.
So-
I'm sorry.
50-50 on that.
Okay.
one. So,
Okay.
right.
Tell
So I
us, give us your background. Let's
Sure.
get into it a
So,
little bit if you don't mind.
if you don't know, I was in the greatest branch of the service that there ever was, that ever is. United States Marine Corps. I spent 10 years in the service, and after getting out, difficult story, probably for another podcast, but I ended up becoming a civilian medic in 2010, also getting into security, and then growing into my own business, which allows me to travel a lot, but also affords me the opportunity to go to other gyms and train with other people, to have a little network of individuals that I train with outside of South Florida.
When you went, you went to Mexico recently,
I did.
right? Did you
I
get to
did.
train? You sent me a message that you found some people through somebody knew this one, you knew somebody, and then all of a sudden you're training.
Correct.
Did
So
you show up at the wrong gym or
I
something?
did. That's a funny story, and I'll shout out some of my friends out in Mexico. Machete Gym is one of them, and then also Devil Dog Gym in Mexico in Jalapa, which is the state capital of Veracruz, Mexico. I was there about a little less than a month ago. But it's a small network. Jiu-Jitsu, the Jiu-Jitsu community will open up doors for you if you want to train anywhere throughout the world, as long as you give them a little bit of heads up notice, as well as the Marine Corps. Marine Corps is a very small branch, and you can find a Marine pretty much anywhere, and they'll open their doors for you. So that's pretty much how that happened. But regardless, I'll tell you what, we're spoiled here in South Florida because we train with AC. They don't train with AC in Mexico.
Open up the front door and the back door.
That was tough. It was legs day too. It was leg day.
Yeah.
So a lot of squats, a lot of shuffles, a lot of lunges, and the technique was.
Now what
specific
happened?
to that.
You were going to a school. You had a plan to go to a school, but did you go to the wrong one and they still welcomed you with
I'm
open
gonna
arms?
blame that on Google Maps because I typed in the
Google
name
Maps
of the
Mexico
gym.
isn't working.
I don't know, man.
Get on that,
It
Google.
was off something.
Hey man, this is karate. What are you doing?
No, it was actually a jiu-jitsu.
It's like why do these gis look so different?
It was a jiu-jitsu gym. It's a jiu-jitsu gym. And funny story, because I wasn't going to train. I think I was recovering from a rib injury that we were talking about earlier. But I still wanted to get some training in because I was outside of the country. I show up, and the initial guy told me that it was no gi. Right? So I'm happy. I'll show up with some shorts and a t-shirt. It happened to be gi day. Right? I didn't have a belt, didn't have a gi. The guy let me borrow a gi. Right? Let me borrow a gi and let me borrow a belt. Hey, and I was proud white belt that day.
But did you? But was it? Did you get to? That was at the wrong gym.
That was at the wrong gym that I still got.
Question: did they knew you're black belt when you rolling with the people as a white belt?
I told them. I told him I was a black belt. But again, I didn't have my belt, and the only belt that he had was a white belt. I'll take that. I'll take a white belt over, putting on a purple or brown belt. I'll take a white belt. Right? So no big deal. But it was a great time. So thank you guys for opening up your doors for me. And
so go back. So talk a little bit about. So you got out of the Marines. You got out of the service. You became a civilian medic.
Yeah, but way before that. So I got out in 2003, and in 2005 I started training jiu-jitsu here in South Florida. I started with Pablo Popovich. So shout out to Pablo Popovich, who started my jiu-jitsu career, and a lot of jiu-jitsu Pablo Popovich black belts out there that I've trained with over the years. So from there, I started training with Felipe at his gym, which has changed several names, but it's always been Fight Sports, a Fight Sports affiliate, which is now Coral Springs. Which is now
We know them. We know those guys
very
over there.
well.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
know them very
We
well.
know
And I've been training with Felipe since 2010, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, for a long time. So Felipe, he's trained some of my kids, some of my daughters, before they decided that they were growing too much older to not participate. But hey, what can I tell you? I lost track of the question now.
So you were just going into your history a little bit.
Yes. So for me, jiu-jitsu now has become a lifestyle. I got my black belt from Felipe about a year ago. But before that, it was it's a lifestyle. So some of the things that we've already been talking about, nutrition, right? Cardio, your health, your mental health, all those things come into play when you decide that you want jiu-jitsu to be beneficial for you. Why is Milton losing 25 pounds? Is it overall because of his stents? No, because he wants to continue to train jiu-jitsu. And at 25 pounds light, it's going to be ideal. Same thing for Raul. And we take all those things into consideration. I was just talking to Jason, who was telling me about a rib injury. Hey, we train as hard as we possibly can, but we have to understand that mentally you have to take some time out, 6 weeks potentially for a rib injury, to be able to get back on the mat. And then what do you do in between? Well, you mentally rehearse. I think so. Those are some of the things that you guys spoke about on the first episodes. Watch YouTube videos, mentally rehearse. Those things play a big role in your ability to continue doing what you want to do. And it's worked out for me.
Let's talk a little bit about your jiu-jitsu itself. How does your jiu-jitsu play into what you do outside of here? I know you mentioned something about security.
Sure. So I've been training jiu-jitsu for 15 plus years, and it keeps me in shape and allows me to do the things that my job requires of me. So I'm 5'6", 160 pounds, right? But I treat my body like a temple because I know it's going to require me to do certain things. For me to continue to be on the mat at 44 years old, I want to continue training till I'm, Helio Gracie's age, right? Till forever. But if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu, I probably couldn't do a lot of things that I do. I need a lot of flexibility. I need the ability to carry heavy loads. I need the ability to move not only my body, but somebody else's body in the event that they get hurt. So that's how it plays into my daily life.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, let's jump back into a question. This one actually comes from somebody we all know, John Francisco.
Oh,
Everybody know?
What's going on, John?
what's up, John? How you doing?
Thank you for the question. We're getting into, we talked a little bit about kids' jiu-jitsu on episode 3, but John's asking, what's an appropriate age for a kid to start training? Will starting to train too young cause them to burn out faster? I actually have that question. I've never posed that question to like a coach at a school because I kind of feel like it's like, I don't know that they want to give the real answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, I don't know if the answer will be skewed coming from the owner of a gym. But any thoughts on that?
I would say that it's exposure. The more that you can expose kids to at an early age, the more you can gauge them as to whether or not it's going to be for them. They might, you can expose them to all kind of musical instruments. Let's use that as an example. They might not take the drums, but they might take to a guitar or to a piano. It just depends how much exposure you give them. Professor Felipe and Sophia's son Kai has been on the mat since he potentially could walk, right? Before he can walk. So that consistent exposure, that's something that he wants to do. So I would say there's really no age, but it's got to be something that you have to gauge how much interest they're taking in it.
So I think like John's also asking it, and that's a great answer. But like I know, we all know as a little bit older here, right? We all know about injuries. I know if I had a child, I would be a little hesitant to get them out there too young, and I'd be a little careful on how many days a week. Even at a young age. Any thoughts on that with your son? I mean, you I think we talked about it one time. How many days a week does he train?
He trained usually 4 days.
Okay.
I've been actually taking him on Saturdays now.
Okay.
So because
today?
yes, our gym now we're doing which is I think it's amazing. I think it was the best idea ever. Train a family jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So I think to me to share the mats with my son it's priceless.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Like that's a lot of lot of fathers and sons at our school. They train with their kids. I think it's amazing. He usually do like 4 or 5 days a week.
You weren't there today. You weren't there today, right?
No, I just dropped him off and I work this morning.
So you didn't hear what happened. Your son and Alex's son, one of our other training partners, when the coach split the mat, he put that little orange band down on the floor.
Yes.
He split the mat. He's like, okay, kids over here, adults over here. Let's roll. Let's do it. And Alex and your son were both like, right with the adults. And then it just became, and then Alex's son was like, I'm not training with the kids.
I know.
What is it? Do you know how old Alex's son is? He's what,
I'm
12,
not
13
sure.
as well?
12, 11, 12, I'm not sure.
They did not want to, and you know what? They all rolled with the adults.
Hey, they're big boys now, The first time he actually went to train on Saturdays, he tried to sneak to the kids' side.
Yeah,
and coach was like, you on this side, and he's
so he tried. Okay, all right.
big boy now,
It was great to see. I mean, I've only seen him in the kids' classes.
Yes.
Actively rolling with the adults was a good sight to see. Seen him.
That's pretty awesome.
I've been there for.
The kids side is for like 6, 7, 8, 9. Gabriel's taller than me. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Think about the same weight.
It's funny because that's kind of like the VPK of the gym because you see all the little kids training on the side, and
he actually then when they went to take a picture at the end of the class, coach wouldn't let him take a picture. He went to go take a picture with the kids. He's like, get out of here.
Come here with your adults. Yeah.
And he did it with the adults. But I'll go back to in your any worries for you about the second part of John's question here? Do you worry about them burning out too fast at this age? And I'll even add in, what about injury? I mean, we get injured all the time. We've probably all been off the mat. You're off the mat right now, right?
I am.
We've all been off the mat at some point. Does that worry you about your son? And
I talk to him all the time. It's my responsibility to protect myself when I'm rolling. Mm-hmm. I have to be conscious about my body. So I try to teach him the same thing. Like especially now, he's been training with the adults, and I keep on telling him the adults and even the ones that are shorter than you, smaller than you, they're still gonna be heavier than you because they're adults.
Okay.
So protect yourself. Make sure when you train, you don't try anything fancy. Stick with the basics. Like frame yourself. Protect yourself. I guess getting hurt is part of the sport. Yeah. It will happen, and I try not to worry too much about it,
Yeah. How about your grandson?
Oh, he's already
In
been
your
on.
mind?
And
In your
he's already
mind?
been on the mat. Before he was a year old.
Okay.
Not necessarily rolling, but he knows what it's like to be on the mat. And as soon as he can understand certain concepts, listen to rules, and he'll be on the mat training.
Yeah.
I think it's a great confidence builder for little kids. Just the way, again, this podcast is jiu-jitsu specific, but back before there was jiu-jitsu, what was the best thing to have your son or daughter in? Karate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
As an after-school activity.
Taekwondo, karate, discipline.
Taekwondo. Why? Because it's going to instill those things, but I think jiu-jitsu is way better.
So that's your plan, but what's your daughter's plan for
I don't know. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That'll be grandpa time. That'll be grandpa. No, but you know what? My daughter, she
does
understands.
she have any feeling about it either way? Have you had conversations about it? I mean, I've seen you, take pictures of him on the mat, but truly, when do you think you'll get him out there? And
I don't know.
He will be out there though.
Oh, most definitely.
He will
most
be out
definitely.
there.
I think 3 years old is the youngest. They
Usually
can do.
like 4.
Yeah.
4 to 5, and for whatever.
pushing for 3.
As you know, girls
Junior's
tend
like
to be
2 and a
bit
half.
more mature.
Yeah.
Than the boys are. That's just there. You go.
I'm pushing.
But
for
it
3.
also depends on the kid too. I mean, it depends on the kid. If 3, you've exposed him and he wants to do it, then he's going to pay attention. You get some kids out there that just, they see the sparkle and classes here and there.
Yeah.
They're looking for the rainbow, right?
Yeah. So I mean, really, it just depends on the kid as well.
Okay.
My son was so nervous his first class. I'll never forget. He was so nervous. He was talking to me inside the car. He's like, "Oh my God, Dad, I don't know that. I don't know if I can do this." And it was so amazing because after the first class, he was like, "Oh, I love this place. I want to work here." That's the first thing he said to me. So I think it's all about the exposure. I agree with you 100%. It's all about exposure. I don't think there's too early for jiu-jitsu. I don't think there's such a thing. You know,
Yeah.
never too early, never too old.
How do you guys feel about other martial arts? You know, I mean, we're
I know. I
obviously-
mean,
we skew towards the jiu-jitsu side, but do you feel like you would mix in other martial arts?
You know,
Forget that our coach just walked in the door.
Yeah. No, here's what I think. You know, and I think we
Careful
probably,
what you say.
we probably had this conversation a long time ago. Jiu-Jitsu's a very disciplined sport, especially on the kids side. And if you come to fight sports, you'll definitely see that.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Professor Felipe, right? But you know, I don't think it's fair to give a child a black belt in any sport because it gives them the wrong confidence, right? There's a lot that comes with the black belt. You know, there's a lot of black belts that potentially shouldn't be black belts because of their mental state. You know, they're undisciplined. They don't have the fortitude that's necessary. They're childish in certain ways, right? So it takes a lot to be a black belt.
I
right?
think it also
So-
takes away from the discipline when you give a kid, a child, who's really probably just been breaking boards.
Yeah, and
you
it
know,
gives them a full
black
sense of
belt, yeah.
security that they can do something that they potentially really can't against an adult. You know, you
Not
give
saying
a child.
that those arts aren't, you know, they don't have their place and they're not good for discipline and things like that. But I do think that, you know, they start walking around saying they have a black belt
Oh,
and
for sure.
they're not really sparring as much as they could be. I mean, that's the one difference with us. We fight every class.
not
And
doing
so do the
not
kids.
doing the full
Yeah, the
contact,
kids, right?
the full
Yeah.
contact is sparring. That's what you meant. Yeah.
To feel somebody, you know, choking you or grabbing an arm or, you know.
And I think in the
an arm
world
bar.
that we live in, you know, kids should experience that. You know, they should understand what it's like for somebody to grab them, for them to be able to defend themselves. Because again, those are the realities of life and in the world that we live in. That could happen at any time. And jiu-jitsu is a self-defense based martial art. Right? That's at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Sport aside, right? You want to instill in these young kids as young as you possibly can, because you know, when's the last time, or again, you can look at the news and you could see some 3 or 4 year old just got abducted. Right?
Yeah.
At least if he knows how to, that something is not right because he's been taught that in class by a professor, then you know he can do something to prevent it.
What did you tell me? I forget. You said something about your son was talking about some of his friends, about them being annoying. That the kids that do jujitsu, the kids that don't do jujitsu that I know, they're just annoying.
No, kids that don't do martial arts in
Okay,
general.
okay.
You know, this is you know, it's they're just not disciplined. And like just I can see by my son's friends, they don't do martial arts. You know, they're all over the place. You know, compared to the kids that go to our school, they're so much better, so much more well disciplined. You know, compared to other kids that don't do martial arts. You know,
I feel like those friends start to fade away, or is he?
Yes,
Is he fading
he-
away from those friends?
Yes,
and
he-
it's more jujitsu friends.
he goes more towards the friends that do what he does,
Yeah.
you know, and he's gotten to a point that, you know, he loves the sport, you know, and he's always talking about the sports. Sometimes after class, and you know, I'm taking him home and he'll be talking about, you know, for like 5, 10, 15 minutes, you know.
Like, shut up about jujitsu already,
Yeah, like,
kid.
oh, I did this today, I did that today, I learned this today. So I think it's pretty cool because he doesn't like anything else.
Do you guys move the coffee table out of the way in the living
Yes.
room? And
Yes, we've done that a plenty of times.
I've had a
yes,
conversation
yes.
with your wife, and she's like, "Yeah, he grabs me in the kitchen, and he starts to choke
yes.
me." And it's not good.
Jiu-Jitsu was amazing.
That's a
because
quote. That is a quote.
He never likes anything else.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't do that to your wife.
even if he's very tall, he doesn't
Yeah.
like basketball.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't like soccer, doesn't like to play anything else, and
Yeah.
he just loves jiu-jitsu. You
Not
know,
a bad thing.
I never
It's
have
not
to
a bad
force
thing at
him
all.
to do jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I never, you know, he's
Just
just
Saturday
like,
mornings.
yeah, Saturday mornings is a little different, you know, because you know,
Early.
Sleeping days.
yeah, it's
I mean, that's
sleeping
5
day,
solid
you know.
days. That's 5 days of training,
Yes.
and really the Saturdays are now 2 hours. If you know, we stop at an hour, we take some really nice pictures, and then you go back to rolling. So he could really be there,
Yes.
you know, for a full 2 hours, right?
And like I said, the whole family jiu-jitsu they've been doing at the school right now, it's pretty amazing. You know, I think it's great.
I gave
And,
I gave Coach that marketing idea, by the way.
oh, you did it?
Yeah, that was all me. That was all me. Just so you know. Actually gets in. Just kidding. That actually gets into. So we have another training partner here. Alex sent a question. Says, "Why is BJJ so addicting?" So we're kind of talking about that. Why? Why do we all feel that way? And what drives you to keep going over and over, even on sore days? We've touched on that a little bit, but anybody want to tackle that?
Why is it addicting?
Why is it addicting?
I think because you prove something. You prove something every day to yourself, and that's, I guess, basically the goal of life, right? To be better than yesterday. And when you can go and you can learn a new move, or you can strengthen your technique, or you can submit somebody, right?
Yeah.
You get that sense of accomplishment that you can continue going and become better every
Yeah.
day. But it goes down, it comes back to my famous quote that you mentioned on previous podcasts.
Which one?
Right? Some days you're the hammer, and some days you're the nail, and you have to take, the good days and the bad days together. Because when you get beat up, you have to remember what it feels like to be on top.
Very
right?
easy.
Are
You gotta
you
be very
telling me
humble.
that I'm gonna be the hammer someday?
You might. I don't
You
know. I don't know.
no.
I can't wait.
I don't know about that.
That will
but
not happen.
Just
I can't
remember,
wait.
just remember what it feels like to be pounded every day, to be grinded out, right? And then when you're on top, just remember how that guy feels. Feels like a lump of shit, right?
Raul, I'd like to hear from you on this because you've been out for a while, and
Yeah.
I mean I know this is something that I know that you love.
Right.
You talk a little bit about being off the mat for so long and wanting to get back into it.
Yeah. So I think what kept my heart into jiu-jitsu is there's so many victories that you would never see in any other part of life, right? There's so many victories in defeats of jiu-jitsu. There's a victory in being able to roll without getting submitted by a person. You're getting crushed, you're getting slammed the whole time, but he didn't submit me. In the 6 minutes, he didn't submit me. There were moments when I was rolling and I wanted to give up. My natural inclination was just like, I give up, but I refused to give up because my body wasn't in trouble, my limbs weren't in any kind of danger, and I just kept pushing through it, and I came out on the other side. Didn't win, but I didn't give up either. And I think what jiu-jitsu does for a lot of people is it teaches them, or it reveals them to themselves.
Yeah.
It reveals the best part of themselves to themselves.
Yeah.
And it, when you successfully just get through a class, when you successfully show that you've been consistent in it, there is a pride in being able to go into a grinder, basically. Just the reality is it's a grinder, and you go in there and your toes are hurting and your fingers are hurting, and you're going up against guys you just dread you would never approach in the street, and you're going up against them, and you come out the other side, sometimes victorious, sometimes not, but you came out the other side ready to go the next day. I mean, that's there's such a personal victory in jiu-jitsu every time you train that's addicting in and of
Yeah.
itself. It was for me.
Janet,
I guess
you're addicted.
Yeah. It's my second home, my
Yeah.
other family. But I
Yeah.
think that's what it is for me. It's
Yeah.
my family.
Yeah.
I've made great friends. I love them, and I get to spend every day with them doing what I like to do.
Yeah. Too bad it doesn't get you away from Jason a little bit more, though, right? That guy.
And you become so close to your training partners. It's really like family.
Yeah.
After some time, after sharing the mats with someone for so long, everyone just becomes family.
Now I know, like when it's for me, start again. 15 years been training. June is 5 years for me. I call it the quiet confidence. I was definitely ran with a bunch of guys who love to go out drinking, and if we didn't have a fight by the end of the night with somebody or get into some type of bullshit, it wasn't a good night. And I definitely surrounded myself with guys that were like that, people that were in the club business, and it was just normal for them to get involved with a lot of BS. And as soon as I started training jiu-jitsu, like you just want to, if the fight's over there, you want to be over there. I think it's kind of like once you know how to protect yourself and you know how to defend yourself, you're like, I don't want to have to use this. I'm going to hurt that person. I'm going to be over here. But I tell parents of kids that are thinking about, or the parents who are thinking about putting their kids into some type of martial art, I call it the quiet confidence. Like there's a point in their life where they'll be able to walk in a room, and we've probably all done this. You walk into a room, maybe not this room right now, but you walk into a room and you're not scared of anybody in that room, and there's a little voice in the back of your head that says, I could take everybody in this room. There's nobody here that I need to be scared of. I mean, from a woman's perspective, I have to assume that's even more empowering than it probably was for me. But to be in a room and be like, none of these people worry me. I don't have to feel weird about this. I don't have to, if I have to walk up to somebody, for children, it gives them that confidence. I think to approach people and to say things that they might not normally say, or to approach people they might not normally approach.
Yeah.
But again, even as an adult, I feel like, again, I can walk
Even
with my head held high and not worry about. But at the same time, not had one fight and not one scuffle since I've put on that white belt. So it's definitely kept me out of trouble.
I never had any problem with Gabriel in school because he doesn't tell nobody he does jiu-jitsu. He kind of keeps to himself. But the bullies, they prey on the weak, so they can actually feel when someone is.
Tell that story about when the school called you.
Yeah, like one time I got a call from a school and he got into a fight with someone, which is it got me worried about it because I don't want him to be fighting.
Yeah.
I'm thoroughly against any type of violence.
And it's not the norm for him. He's not.
No.
Every day that he's getting into fights.
Everybody that knows my kid, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And then when someone called from a school, and my reaction was like, how's the other kid?
Yeah,
Because it is scary. You're going to be choking someone, and especially if you're doing this against someone that doesn't train, it doesn't know when to tap, it doesn't know how to protect themselves, I don't want him to be hurting people, I don't want him to get hurt, but I don't want him to be hurting other kids, And later he told me, that the kid pushed him down, and he got up, took the kid down, and just kind of like controlled him until the security guard came in and pulled him off, and I'm a strong believer that most of the people that go outside fighting, they don't know how to fight. They have no training, they're very insecure, and they go outside and they pick up fights with strangers, which is to me is just crazy. Like, why you want to pick up a fight with someone you don't know? The person might be a black belt, or he might have a gun, or he might have a knife. You never know. So I'm thoroughly against.
What did you say when you got home? What did you say to him when you got home? I see you smirking a little bit already. What was the conversation like when you got home?
Well, I did ask him what happened, and then he told me, like, it's like I told him, like, don't be a bully, don't be bragging about it. That's the real story here. I told him, don't be bragging about it, and try to stay out of.
Did you tell him, like, did you kick his ass?
No.
You had to. Did you win? Did you win?
It was armbar or omoplata.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, that's jiu-jitsu in the end of the day. Like
And
you said,
he changed completely because he was very afraid of the other kids. He was
very shy when he started, right?
no,
Very, very shy.
no,
before he started jiu-jitsu.
no confidence whatsoever, and jiu-jitsu completely changed him. Completely changed him. So. To me, it's just
Jiu-jitsu and his jiu-jitsu coach.
Of course, and especially at home, like every time he talks about the coach, about Felipe, he has such a respect for always
For Sophia.
Mr.
Sophia.
Miss Sophia, Mr. Felipe.
Brownie points.
Yes. So to me, it was just was the best thing that ever happened to him. Was the sport, with jiu-jitsu.
Very cool.
Even when I asked him, like, did you see yourself not training jiu-jitsu? And he said no. Like he wants to train for the rest of his life. Like we've been planning to get our black belts together.
Can you really plan that though? Can you plan that?
I don't know.
Can we make that happen, Coach?
Good calendar.
Hopefully that will happen someday. That'd be really cool.
That would be awesome, man. I'd love to be there, man.
I want to do the before and after because we have pictures when we used to be just white belts. We took pictures together with first class, and let's hope.
I have a feeling he's going to be kicking your ass pretty soon.
Oh, he's been doing that already. See how big he is right now.
He's big. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Let's go around the room. You guys want to give your social media handles?
All right, I'm not good at these handles things.
You're not good at the interweb?
Interweb. It's Raul Benton at
Instagram at Raul Benton.
Instagram at Raul Benton.
Spell the last name just in case.
No, sure. RAULBENTON.
Awesome.
Janet _JJ Dummies.
Well, this will all be on the screen if you watch it on YouTube.
This is Junior. You can find me on Instagram at Vega Jr. spelled out JUNIOR.
And thank you very much
Thank you for having
coming
me.
out, man.
Appreciate
You're
it.
always welcome. We've been
Awesome.
trying to get you here for a little bit, but you are a world traveler.
Thank you for accommodating.
Busy schedule.
You can find me on Instagram. It's Mauricio_H_Matos.
Good gracious.
You
I
want
know.
to give that again?
It's Mauricio MAURICIO_HMATOS.
What does the H stand for?
Enrique.
And Henrique?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Very cool. I got a bunch of them. So so we've got Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. So it's at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. That's me answering your questions. When you do submit a question, we take questions every episode. When you do submit questions, shout out your gym, tag your gym so we can mention them as well. tell us your rank. City, state, rank, whatever. Tell us everything about you. If you can put it if you don't want to put it into the comments, send me a direct message. I'll tie them together. I'll see that you asked a question. I'll make sure that we shout out your gym. Big thank you again to Fight Back CBD. I forgot to give the coupon code before, but Fight Back CBD. A couple of people today. It will go out to JR 623 and Roberto. We'll both get bottles of CBD along with a Jiu-Jitsu Dummies mug, and they'll get a Jiu-Jitsu Dummies shirt. I'll actually give you a coupon code. We'll send you a coupon code and a link to the store on Choke Responsibly, who does all of our swag. So anybody, if we use your question, you're at least getting the T-shirt and a mug. So keep an eye out on your direct messages. We're going to get those to you. Again, Fight Back CBD, JR and Roberto are both going to get a bottle. If you want to order your own bottles, use coupon code JJD. They'll give you 15% off. Again, we've talked about them. This story will not get old. They help people with substance abuse issues, find training. They help them with gis. They pay for school. They help get them on their feet in the jiu-jitsu world. So hats off to those guys. I think it's amazing. I always wanted to work with some type of charity. It was just interesting how this came together, that it's this CBD provider that's helping
Definitely a great cause.
people. Yeah, I think it's awesome, and I hope that they that they stay with us for a really long time. Again, just coupon code JJD, you'll get 15% off. Back to Choke Responsibly. Again, they gave us about $1,000 of just T-shirts, mugs, sweaters, anything we want to give away. Right now, we're going to stick to the podcast mugs and T-shirts, but we'll probably open it up in the next couple of episodes to anything on their store. So if you send us a question, we'll let you order anything. If you are in the U.S. and you win, free shipping. If you are somewhere internationally, we're going to ask that you just pay the shipping. It takes a lot for them to get it out to you, so just bear with us on that. Maybe we figure something out in the future. 10% off of any order on Choke Responsibly. You can utilize Dummies Pod 4. I gotta get that right. Dummies Pod 4. You get an additional 10% off of your order. If you win and you want to add to that order, use that coupon code. You'll get 10% off of that order as well, again, with the free shipping. So please support our sponsors. They're supporting us. They're helping us get out here. So anything that you guys can do to help us help them is going to be great for the show, and it's just great for jiu-jitsu. As always, support your jiu-jitsu, your local gyms, the businesses. We are, we're very niche. So if you don't support us, nobody's going to. Does anybody have anything they want to add?
Not at all.
Like, subscribe, comment. We will get back to you. You will talk to me. Hit them up on their Instagram handles. Pester them for a T-shirt. Maybe they'll give in. But thank you everybody for your support, for all the support on social media. It's been incredible. I'm finding it hard to keep up with all the messages right now, so bear with me. I do answer every single question. I think eventually we'll have to get somebody else involved and help out with that. But
That's beautiful.
Thank you everybody. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate you guys. I love you all. We'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Ooh,
Take care,
take care, guys.